Hello, I'm Kirti, Energy Alchemist, and in this video, I'm going to share about my trip to Varanasi. It is going to be something that you might like or you might not like, so stay tuned till the end. It was normal from the 3D perspective, but our trip to Varanasi was divinely planned. I wasn't expecting this trip, as a month earlier to this, I went to Kasar Devi Almora with my son. Well, you can deny things to human beings, but not to the divine. I refused to go for this trip. I started getting the word Manikarnika Ghat after a few days, and it was weird that I started getting about this place everywhere on social media, on Pinterest, and you name it. So I shared it with my friend Siddhi, whom I had been working on healing things, healing globally as well. So, to our surprise, she also had intuitively been pulled to Varanasi. So we hadn't planned much, but as the month of April started, our pull got stronger and stronger. We were still not serious until I got the serious hunch to book the tickets. So finally, we started searching for trains, but every train was full. And then I gave up because the energy was so high that I finally asked Mahadev to find something for us if he wants us to be there. So I also asked him to keep this trip low on budget as I had spent a lot on an earlier trip with my son. So with time we fixed days and got train tickets for the round trip. It was amazing. My mother had a friend in Varanasi who got ready to host us at their home, and that made it simply easy for us. So finally, we started for Varanasi on 24th of April and reached on time. After some rest, we decided that in the evening we will go to Manikarnika Ghat, and that we did. Finally, my soul had been showing me massive glimpses of this place. You can read all about this place on Google, but in short, it is a ghat on river Ganga where cremation keeps going on 24/7. As we closely saw dead bodies over there being burnt, we feel a great release. What that release was, it's a question. We didn't know, but a great shift happened. I meditated on the corpses and saw myself burning over there. I felt as though I was one of those corpses, and every bit of my body started burning in the fire of cremation. It started with burning my hair and then my skin, and all I could smell was a foul smell while I was burning. Slowly, I could even feel the burning sensation in my body. Even though it was a meditative state, but I started feeling as though everything was realistic. Gradually, I gave up as the burning sensation intensified. I felt as though my soul started dancing out of my body in ecstasy. And then I felt like merging into Mahadev. That was an intense feeling and cannot be replaced by any other feeling. Seriously. So, on the very first evening, I had everything that I wanted. You can call it moksha, final liberation, freedom, whatever you want to call it. I got that. I got to that point and I was super happy. And then I asked Mahadev about the next few days. What would we be doing for the rest of our trip? As the trip was totally unplanned, we let Mahadev show us the path. So the next morning, we went to Asi Ghat with auntie and uncle. They went back to their home because we decided to stay there for some more time and meditate there. While we sat in meditation, I felt Mahadev in me. I was talking to him as a real person, asking all the questions related to my life's hurdle. And after some time, me and my friend Siddhi decided to explore all the other ghats, which were almost an hour walk or so. It was fun and we channeled light codes as well. You must have seen them on Instagram and YouTube shorts as I shared them earlier. Now till then, I was hungry and we decided to find something to eat. Now this is a story. After another half an hour, we had not so tasty breakfast. It wasn't tasty at all. And I was like, thank you God for at least giving us food for the time being. And after that, we went back home to Uncle Auntie's place. And in the evening, we decided to go to the Sheshwamed Ghat for Ganga Arti. While commuting to the Ghat, I conversed with Mahadev again and said, Mahadev, we are here in your city. And won't you treat us with some tasty chaat? We want to eat chaat. The food that we had that morning wasn't tasty, so I asked him to bring on something tasty for us. Treat us with something tasty, right? He responded that he would provide a tasty meal from then onwards, and he kept that promise. So this is why I said it's a story, because it is so, when you start believing, it happens, right? So during the Ganga Arti as well, we were a little late and there was a huge crowd. I asked again to Mahadev to find the best place for us. And in return, we got the place from which the view was clear and nice. We sat right next to where the Aarti was going on. So you can see it in the video and photos here, how close we were. That was the story of second day where my connection with Mahadev got stronger than earlier. Now came the third day, the subsequent day. I wanted to stay home as the weather was warm, but Siddhi insisted to go to Sarnath, where there is a stoop. I'm not a Buddha person or a follower and don't like to understand his teachings at all, but had to go forcefully. That was divinely guided actually, or forced you can say by divine. Sarnath is where in 528 BCE, at the age of 35, Gautam Buddha taught his first sermon after attaining enlightenment at Bodh Gaya. As I touched the first brick wall of that place of his time, I felt a shift in energy. The sun was blazing and I felt dizzy, so I decided to sit nearby. And where I sat was another structure, and there I started having conversation with Buddha himself. I don't know if you can believe it or not, but it happens. We learned it in so many years to converse with ascended masters, angels and archangels like friend or another person. So my point was why he left his wife and son for enlightenment. I didn't like him for that. He asked me only one question. He asked me if I have ever left my son, even for a day, for peace. I said I did, but I goes back to him and family. He showed me how the whole world is his family and thus he never left anyone. This was the point where I broke down. I understood a different perspective, his perspective. That's when Buddha merged into Mahadev and then into me. They all combined and merged into me. They showed me intuitively that every god or ascended master are one, and so we all are one with them as well. That moment became my final point of enlightenment. I don't know if I still need to go through all these phases, but that was the point of enlightenment for me. After some time, I started channeling the light codes, which you might have seen already on the channel, and it had light language as well. If you haven't, then check it out. It is powerful. So that was a confusing day. As a place where I didn't want to go, that was Sarnath, was kind of forcefully taken by Siddhi. And on the other hand, Kashi Vishwanath temple was somewhere she didn't want it to go. She didn't want to go, and I forced her to go to that place. The Kashi Vishwanath temple is a famous Hindu temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. It is one of the most sacred pilgrimage sites of Hindus and is among the 12 Jyotirling shrines of Shiva. So she got her attunement and downloads of energy at this temple, while I wasn't happy to visit that temple for some reasons. But of course, I had to deal with my ego at that time and decided to acknowledge and release my ego. That day was marked for both Siddhi and me to move on separate paths. And I realized the same the next day when her train was earlier than mine and I was left out without her at Auntie's place. So I decided to visit Manikarnika Ghat once more before leaving the city, as I don't know why, but I was pulled towards that place. I still want to stay there forever. I felt the energies of Mahadev over there. And I went to the ghat alone this time. Sitting there, this time I felt nothing. I felt nothing much because my activation was already done. But I felt a void and sadness about leaving that place. And I actually started crying while sitting there. But I had to leave as I had a train to catch. But while walking down the streets, I started my conversation with Mahadev, where I asked him why can't I stay there with you, Mahadev, forever? To which he responded that he had already merged in me and I am not separated from him. But still I was feeling sadness and I kept crying throughout the road, throughout the streets. Walking down the streets, I kept crying and crying. I still felt that sadness of leaving that place. So it was natural for me to cry. I am a crying baby, you can say that. Even on the train to Delhi, I was feeling sad and I had a tear or two more now and then, and I tried to suppress that. But you can't suppress that sadness. It's a great, I don't know, maybe I left my soul over there or something like that. My mom told me earlier to this trip that when you go to Varanasi, you have to leave something that you love into Ganga. And after listening to her, I thought, what if I leave myself? What if I leave myself because I love myself the most? And it happened, I think. I left my soul over there. I don't know why. But he had told Siddhi before the trip that we will live our dream life after this trip. And it was true. We are living a weird life which can't be explained to any normal human being or person, actually. And I feel no shame if you call me weird or insane. Seriously. What I took back is a totally different reality from which I was born and conditioned into. My love and trust in divine and specifically Mahadev increased to the highest level possible. And I trust that whatever I require will be provided by him. I trusted him when he told me to meditate and send healing to the world for which I was sent to this earth and for which we won't be getting any money in return. Okay? I trusted him when he said I have to learn to let the struggles go, for I am not meant to struggle at all. I trust him when he said that my son, his studies, and I are taken care of by him. I just trust him and prove myself on every test I have to go through for this love for him. It was a journey to eternal bliss and liberation, I swear. I'm not like you, and still I'm you. This is a phrase I get while speaking right now. If you understand this phrase, then you achieve the next level of your spiritual journey. I'll take your leave now and hope you enjoyed this journey with us with all these photographs and all this commentary about what happened each day and everything. And I hope you feel or you might feel connected to spirituality and walk onto it. So we will meet really soon. Live in light, enjoy life, and have fun.